Welcome back to another episode of What's New in Beauty. My name is Nia Lee, and I'm super excited to have you guys here. If it's your first time tuning in, this is essentially the podcast where I love to talk about all new and exciting things happening in the beauty industry, and of course, adding in my 2 cents to it. So let's just jump straight in because I've been really excited to talk about this topic, and I've had my eye on this brand for a minute. And so when I saw that they were coming out with this product, I was like, this is interesting. This is quite risky for a brand that's fairly new on the scene, and it's all about Youthforia launching their date night skin tint serum foundation, aka foundation you can sleep in. Now, the serum foundation launched with 15 shades, a mostly neutral shade range for added flexibility. It's a medium coverage buildable foundation with a glass skin finish and costs $48 for 35 ml, which I think is pretty reasonable considering there's some foundations out there that literally cost like 70 or 80 bucks. And I live in Canada, so obviously things are going to be way more expensive than they probably actually should. But for $48, 35 ml, a little bit more than you would get in like a normal serum bottle, I think it's quite fair. The founder and CEO, Fiona Chan, stated, a lot of other brands have warm, cool, and neutral foundation undertones. And I thought, how do we make all of our shades pretty flexible? And what we did differently was we made them fairly neutral and made them a fairly neutral shade family, which I will say is commendable considering foundations are some of the hardest things to actually do. It's honestly the reason why maybe some of your favorite brands haven't ventured into the world of foundation, or if they do, it's a very limited shade range right off the bat, because to come out with a lot of different shades, to really take into consideration things like undertones, and of course, just having a shade range that you have an equal amount of essentially shades per each kind of category, whether it's deep dark or whether it's medium or whether it's fair light, it's hard to do. So the simple fact that she said, hey, we want to focus on the neutral side, which if you are working with a neutral tone foundation, you can kind of make a decision from your concealer if you want to go a little bit warmer, even from your contour if you want to go cooler, or if you want to go warmer with your bronzer, you can kind of, finesse it a little bit. So, but it's hard to finesse something that's way too warm or way too cool, right? So, I mean, depending on how makeup savvy that you are. So again, shout out to them for being able to say, hey, we want to go neutral and we want to focus on that. Now, Youthforia actually invested in expensive texturing ingredients to create the brand silicone-free foundation, which is an oil and water emulsion made with 68% skincare ingredients, which founder and CEO Fiona Chan said, essentially is so that your skin's oils won't dissolve your makeup, which again is really looking out considering, again, I've just noticed a lot of brands lately, and I think we spoke about this a little bit, in previous episodes about how a lot of brands have been wanting to do a lot of skincare makeup hybrid products, because particularly brands that have, started since the pandemic or maybe have been around for 5 years or less, every product that they're coming out with is innovative in this way, in the sense that you're just not going to see a lot of brands sacrifice their skincare regimens anymore for makeup, meaning people would rather spend thousands of dollars on skincare so their skin actually looks good, so they don't have to feel the need to spend thousands of dollars on makeup when you already have great skin. And if we all know, the key to perfect makeup application or your makeup looking as perfectly you as possible is actually having a really great skincare routine. So the simple fact that this has 68 skincare ingredients, the simple facts that it's all about, ensuring that your skin, that it meshes well with your skin's oils so that it doesn't dissolve. Like, that is probably the biggest pet peeve with anybody when you're wearing foundation, is you're looking throughout the day, you're getting oily, you're getting sweaty because the day is just dragging on, and you're noticing foundation starting to crease in your nose, or you notice it around your actual mouth corners or anywhere. So, or even around the eye area. If you got oily eyelids like me, that is like, that's the thing that always gives me the indication, okay, my makeup's been on my face too long. So again, shout out to her for saying these are the things that we don't necessarily want, and these are the things we're making sure we're actually taking into consideration when we create this foundation as well too. And particularly, it also features a patent ingredients designed to reduce skin sebum and the appearance of pores, which is, again, and also adenosine, which that's the first time I've heard that word, but essentially it's proven anti-wrinkle benefits, which Again, something really great to take into consideration as well, too, considering, again, most foundations don't do shit. Or like they don't do anything outside of the normal, hey, let's just cover up everything that's going on in your face. Like, and this is what I just love to see. I love to see brands that say, hey, we're going to create something, but we're going to do it different than compared to how every other brand is doing it, in the sense that like the makeup on your face isn't gonna like mess up your face. It's not gonna do a number on your skin. And so many people can attest to wearing makeup over the years and it just doing, you know, just horrible things to their skin, whether it's, you know, making them age quicker in terms of things like, fine lines and wrinkles, or again, making them break out, or just anything in relation to that. And so the simple fact that there's particular ingredients, let alone the 68%, you know, actual, you know, skincare focused ingredients, I'm impressed by that. So just again, shout out to Fiona and of course the Youthforia team for just getting that done and saying, yeah, we're not going to sacrifice that. And if you didn't know about Youthforia, they are a very cool, I would say very like Gen Z focused, very like, you know, multi-use product. Like, how do we get the best out of, you know, one or two products that we got? And they don't have a huge, you know, product line, let's just say. Their probably most viral product that they came out with, which was the color changing blush that was in this cute little, you know, peach tube, but the actual blush itself, it looked green, but when you actually put it on your skin, depending on the pH of your skin, it would actually turn into a blush shade that actually suited your, you know, skin tone. So they're not trying to create products that are going to mess up your skin. They want, if anything, they want it to enhance your beautiful skin already, or again, not necessarily even enhance the misfortunes that you may or may not, you know, be wanting to hide with the makeup itself. It's like, no, if you're going to be putting this on, yes, you're going to be putting it on and it might be covering up, you know, a little bit of hyperpigmentation here and there, or maybe, you know, it might be, you know, adding in some really great cover up if you got, you know, any dark circles or any dark spots underneath the eyes or on the face. But the simple fact that there's also ingredients that help with pores and of course skin sebum and wrinkles. I mean, it seems like they're just trying to, you know, they're just really popping off right now. So it's you could just tell this is a brand that cares about skin first, and then of course, you know, makeup second, or essentially, you know, how do we combine the two together? So most importantly, Chan actually stated that it took a lot of development trying to figure out how to make it silicone free, and of course making sure that it lasted long and that the texture was really good. And she said a lot of the available capital that they have, because if you didn't know as well too, Youthforia and Fiona was on Shark Tank, and Mark Cuban was actually the investor or the shark that invested into their brand as well too. So this capital that I'm assuming is coming from Mark has gone towards product development for this foundation launch, which is actually pretty commendable because, again, a lot of brands just don't give a shit when it comes to product development. They put products out there onto the market and they think, okay, yeah, we're checking off a box, but you're not actually doing what needs to be done to ensure that your products actually work. Or one of my favorite things that brands love to do is they'll come out with shades. They'll come out with like 5 shades, or they'll come out with 10 shades, and they'll say, oh, you know, and people will say things about the shade range, or, you know, but, you know, outrage marketing is the new form of marketing that a lot of companies, particularly now with social media, love to, you know, I don't say they're always looking for it, but I do think, you know, particularly a lot of brands lean into it. They will come out with those shades. They'll say, these are the shades. They'll do a whole rollout. You know, they'll put the one black model there. And it's enough for people to shut up for like 5 minutes until people are like, wait a minute, where's the rest of the shades? And I don't know if they're looking for extra research. I don't know if, again, they just don't want to spend the extra coin to research to find deeper shades. But I just feel like, and then again, there could be other things into play about, you know, who is our main, you know, customer base? Who are the people that are actually buying from us? And it may not be people with deep or darker skin. And, you know, that may or may not be true. But what I don't appreciate is brands who just put things out and say, hey, this is it. You guys deal with it, and we'll decide to come out with deeper shades, you know, 5 years from now, because, you know, it's maybe not our priority. And I will say this, a lot of the younger generation, particularly Gen Z and Gen Alpha, I talk about them all the time because they literally are the future. They don't play that shit. Like, they want to see the diversity. They want to see the inclusivity right off rip. And I did see a couple people in the Youthforia comment section say, 15 shades. I don't really know. And a couple people who purchased the foundation and said, I don't know, it's not really giving what it's supposed to. So, I commend them from doing the research and putting the capital towards that product development, but it'll be interesting to see how it continues on and what people will say. And again, the founder herself is a woman of color. And obviously she might be wanting to ensure that the foundation shade looks great on her, because if you're on their social media, particularly even their TikTok, she is primarily the main voice over there and she's the main face that you see. So again, her whole shtick and Youthforia's whole shtick is this makeup that you can sleep in, because for her, that was her journey. So again, it'll be really interesting to see what a lot more people will say, particularly the people who do actually try the, medium to darker shades as well too. But again, all in all, the capital was gone towards that product development. And she also stated that that's something that we really wanted to invest a lot in. That's why I still run our TikTok, like I said, and I still do a million other things for the business. So yeah, Chan herself and Fiona, they seem to, and I keep wanting to see saying Chan, Fiona herself seems to be very invested in the success of this foundation, as well as just in the brand as a whole. But I don't know. In situations like this, when you're coming out with foundations, I think it's really, really important to at least, and I'm going to read a statement here, particularly about the 15 shades, which is about how they actually tested the 15 shades on 120 real people and reported that everyone found a perfect shade match. And it'll be really interesting to see how many of those 120 real people were people of color, and what was that test actually look like. I mean, that information could have been really great too, but all in all, again, going back to the product development research, Fiona said that she heard from customers who thought a lot of foundations were either too dark, too pink, too red. Every product in Youthforia's 15 shades serum foundation range has a neutral base, of course, like we said, with slight undertone variations, which allows for shades to flex to your skin's perfect match. The true neutrals are the most flexible shades in the entire range, which of course, again, makes sense with that neutral. And then something really important as well to speak about is that in a dermatologist monitored study where 31 participants slept in date night foundation for 28 days, 96% agreed that it lasted all day long. 90% agreed that their skin did not feel dry or dehydrated, and 87% agreed their skin did not experience an acne breakout. So those are actually some, decent stats as well too. I kind of sort of wish they had done a little bit of a bigger number, but again, these brands got to make their quotas, and maybe 31 was, the perfect sweet spot number. But again, truthfully, my thing when it comes to Youthforia as a brand, it's, again, I commend them for launching foundation and entering into this space, because not a lot of brands do this shit. And a lot of the brands don't do it, like I said, because they will run into some sort of drama, some sort of error, and everybody will side-eye them. And Youthforia's main customer base, from my understanding, from what I see from the people talking about them, are a younger generation. So I'm telling you, those Gen Zers, the younger generation, they don't play. If you try to come out with something that does not feel inclusive or diverse, or they smell that it's a cash grab, they will say something, right? They'll probably buy it, but they'll also say something as well too. So in my opinion, it seems like the main purpose of this foundation was not necessarily to create every single shade in, underneath the sun. It was mostly just about how do we get a foundation that's actually going to be one that you can sleep in, one that's not going to irritate your skin any further, and one that's actually going to do what it says and actually has all these ingredients in it that can actually help your foundation look better and last longer, and again, not break you out, which again is the whole shtick of Youthforia. So to me, it feels like a shade range thing wasn't their first priority. Of course, they wanted to cover as much bases as they could. But truthfully, this is about how do we make a foundation that people want to sleep in? And that's why that's the tagline. That's why that's the main focus. So if you guys are looking for foundation shades that actually work for you, that have a warmer undertone or even cooler, there's a billion other brands that you could buy from, but it doesn't seem like that's Youthforia's bag. And who knows, they might come out with more warmer tone shades down the line. They might even extend from 15 to 30. Who knows? Maybe even 50. That's a big, that they're not Fenty. They don't got the Fenty budget as of yet, at least from my understanding. But all in all, they took a gamble, they put it out there, and I'll be really interested to see what more people say about the foundation as well too. And again, I love that it's serum-like because again, we've been seeing a lot of brands wanting to do a lot of makeup hybrid skincare products, just to say, hey, here is your skincare and makeup in one. And it makes people's lives easier as well too, because a bunch of people spent hundreds and thousands of dollars on skincare during the pandemic. And I just don't think people are interested in buying new makeup products, particularly to undo all the, damage that, or not necessarily the damage, but to undo all the great work that the skincare products have been doing. Because again, like I said, the whole makeup looking perfect on your skin thing comes from having, whether you got the genes and you got great skin, or you've been taking care of your skin really well. And so that's how your makeup ends up looking beautiful. Again, I'm not a makeup artist, but for my makeup artist listeners, you guys know what time it is, and you can let me know in the comment section, of course. So all that to be said, congrats to Youthforia, congrats to the team for doing that huge lift and for saying, hey, we want to give it a go. And like I said, the main focus for them seems about foundation you can sleep in, something that's not going to, ruin your skin any further. And if you do accidentally sleep in it, or you do accidentally forget to take it off at the end of the day, nothing is going to, your skin's not going to be wrecked by the end of that. Now, going into Function of Beauty's Pro line launching at Sephora. So I was really excited to see this. I don't want to say I followed, but I've kept my ear to the streets with Function of Beauty for years. They've been at it for years. I remember when they were just a fairly new brand on the scene that was all about customizing hair care. But customization of skincare is huge as well too. But their whole thing of customization of hair care was a fairly new thing at the time that they launched. They've been out for a minute. Now they're coming out with a pro line, and this is debuting at 300 Sephora stores across the nation and online as the first brand to introduce hair care customization to the prestige channel. The Complete Function of Beauty Pro professionally tested line is designed to take hair care customization to the next level via a naturally derived and bond-building formula that can be designed to hair type, hair goals, and damage levels. The line features 4 collections based on 4 hair types: straight, wavy, curly, and coily, and contains sulfate-free custom recovery shampoo and a 2-in-1 custom recovery condition mask, along with 9 boosters called hair goal concentrates that can be added to the formulas to target specific concerns like frizz, color maintenance, shine, hydration, curl definition, and more. And something also important to notice is that the shampoo and conditioner masks retail for $24 and $28, and each hair concentrate costs $4. So I'm sure eventually when it comes to Canada, it'll probably be a little bit more than that, but that's not horrible considering what Function of Beauty has been doing. And I was saying this to a girlfriend of mine as well too when this news had popped out, was that I really feel like I really feel like Function of Beauty, them kind of being the leader in customization of hair care, particularly in this very fun, cool, trendy way. They really took all the data that they had from the quizzes and from the thousands and thousands of customers that they have and said, why don't we create a pro line that specifically helps with people with these particular concerns that they have. So AKA the hair goals, and then just have the 4 basic kind of hair types as well too, the straight, wavy, curly, and coily. And let's just let people customize how they want. And we're also in an age now where everybody wants the opportunity to feel like they can customize their experience with things, right? Customization is huge. It's hard to do because, again, you need particular data. You need to be able, to get that data. And it's hard to do that if you aren't able to do it in a strategic way. And not to mention, people are so fickle, right? But it's hard to do customization of things because everyone's got different concerns and everyone's got different, goals that they essentially want to achieve with their hair. So the fact that Function of Beauty was able to do this and then also say, hey, let's take all this data and now apply it to a pro line and then actually have it launch in Sephora. And they also launched in Target in 2020 as well too. And I saw that, it seems like that was almost like the pilot for this launching into Sephora as well too, because the design is way more more sleeker. It also doesn't feel as childish. It does feel very sophisticated and elevated as well too, which is what I love. Elevated, elegant, and just simple. And again, this Function of Beauty Pro line also has a true pro stamp of approval, partnering with celebrity hairstylist Justine Marjan as the ultimate pro ambassador. Now, they stated on their collaborative Instagram post with Justine, with 17 years of experience and thousands of clients, for the first time ever, she now has a product she can recommend to any client with any hair type and any damage level, thanks to Function of Beauty's pro customization and self-adjusting bond building technology. Again, I love this. To me, it shows that Function of Beauty is not afraid to say, hey, we don't know everything. And not to mention, when you have a ambassador like this, when you're able to pluck a professional or an expert who sure people know, but maybe not everybody knows about them. And, again, Justine, I ain't going, I'm not going to diminish her work by anything. I mean, she's a makeup artist for Ashley Graham. Like, she is sorry, hair care. I don't know why I keep saying makeup artist. She is the stylist for Ashley Graham and for other celebrities as well, too. I mean, she's been killing it for 17 years. So the simple fact that she, is doing what she does really, really well. And then Function of Beauty says, hey, we want to, again, kind of essentially put you into this pro ambassador space, but then also there's probably collaboration as well too with formulas and other things in relation to that. I mean, and maybe if not, at least just have the figurehead. This allows Justine's audience now to be tapped into what Function of Beauty is doing. And it just seems like there's just synergy here. And it seems that they also wanted to say, hey, we wanted to get into the retail space even further. Why not go big and go big or go home with Sephora? Because of course, obviously we did Target. And now it's like, okay, how then do we get more people involved, especially from a professional level as well too? And I could totally see Function of Beauty entering into the professional hair care space as well too, because as I've been talking about for these past couple episodes, a bunch of brands who are traditionally D2C or have been, focused on retail have now entered into the professional hair care space. And that's really exciting because, as I mentioned, what is a better bond than a hairstylist or any sort of professional, expert that you go, any sort of professional beauty pro? What is a better bond than the pro and the consumer or the customer or the client or whatever you want to call it? And we all know, if a stylist, your, lo and behold hairstylist who's been rocking with you for years tells you, oh my God, I'm using Function of Beauty now, or I did a partnership with them, or again, we see them using the products on some of their celebrity clients. It's just, it takes Function of Beauty to a whole other new level. And they essentially have a built-in celebrity ambassador almost. And again, considering the types of partnerships they probably have coming up as well too with this pro line, it just seems like they're entering into a space of wanting to be more mainstream, wanting more people to know exactly who they are. And then of course, if you love the pro line, I have no doubt that would also make you excited to look at Function of Beauty on their website and just buy their products and their other things as well too, because they also sell skincare. It shows that they are thinking ahead and they want to be innovative, not just with this pro line, but with this collaboration as well too with the celebrity hairstylist. And of course, them launching into Sephora is huge, because this is Sephora's kind of first, array or first kind of opportunity to say, hey, yeah, we are really being innovative with this customization of hair care and introducing this prestige channel into the space of Sephora. Because again, Sephora, to me, they just get it done all the time, and they know how to really speak to their main clientele. And sure, a lot of that clientele could be Gen Z, but it's probably a whole bunch of millennials as well too, because they got the coins. And not to mention they've got the app, not to mention they've got the online, not to mention they have the stores. So it'll be real. I haven't gone into any Sephoras, and like I said, I don't think they've launched into Canada as of yet. So it'll be interesting to see what the display looks like when they do come to Canada. But to me, this is a step in the right direction, and I could totally see Function of Beauty saying, okay, then we've gotten Sephora. Now we want to enter into professional space as well too. And who knows, maybe there's an opportunity for a Function of Beauty pro salon as well too. Like I could totally seeing that being in the future as well, because if they're saying, hey, we want to align ourselves with, celebrity hairstylists or ambassadors or any professionals who have been doing what they've been doing really well, this also speaks to what they've been doing really well as well too, which is gathering data, getting, real results and having people, showcase their real results as well too. Because if you go on their Instagram, well, maybe not now, but before they kind of archived everything for this new exciting pro launch, all that people were talking about was Function of Beauty. You could see people create their products. Of course, you could customize it as well too. And it was just an experience. And people love feeling like they have this special experience that not a lot of people are able to have. So Function of Beauty has been able to do that really well for years. And now they're saying, okay, we want to take all that and we want to make a definitive line. So maybe this is a really great introduction for people with Function of Beauty as well too, until they decide to, go a little bit more customized and actually, get products particular to their needs and their wants as well too. So shout out to Function of Beauty. I'll be really excited to see the rollout of what that looks like even further outside of the celebrity hairstylist ambassadorship. I'll be excited to see if they do a launch party. I'll be excited to see if there's more campaigns down the line. But all in all, it's definitely a step in the right direction. And once again, Sephora is just killing it. Now, last but not least, this news definitely shocked the beauty sphere over these last few days. And it's all about e.l.f. Beauty making an agreement to acquire Naturium in a $355 million deal, which is crazy because e.l.f. has honestly been killing it, and e.l.f. Beauty is the parent company to e.l.f. Cosmetics and a bunch of other companies as well. And honestly, Naturium has really been killing it. Like Naturium has really kind of been leading in skincare, has been really leading in body care. If you don't know the brand, you definitely will know the body wash that everybody and their mom can't stop talking about, particularly on TikTok. So to me, great step in the right direction for e.l.f. for scooping Naturium up, but also for Naturium having the, essentially the support as well as now being acquired by e.l.f. is just going to take them to a whole nother level. And especially at 355 mil, I mean, the brands are really getting it done. So according to Forbes, e.l.f. Beauty announced a definitive agreement to acquire disruptor skincare brand Naturium for $355 million in a combination cash and stock deal. Founded in 2019 by beauty journalist turned YouTube beauty expert Susan Yara, Naturium is projected to generate $90 million this year, which again feels very on par with that because it feels like they've been nonstop. And the fact that that was in 2019 is insane to me because I just feel that was literally the other day. And then I also have to say this before I continue. When I think about Naturium, of course, I think about Susan Yara, their founder. And I also think about the drama that ensued however many years ago. It might have been in 2019, might have been a little bit before that, about when it was found out that Naturium was her brand and she didn't want a lot of people to know in the beginning. And there was a little bit of, back and forth stuff, a little bit of outrage stuff with, a review she did of an ordinary product in, I believe it was like a Facebook chat or page or something in relation to that. I don't know the full details, but there was a little drama at the time. But it seems like none of that matters anymore because human beings, we're very fickle. And if you make good products and you keep coming out and you keep putting out, having your foot on our necks with just great product and great marketing and great packaging, people kind of forget if they really like something, right? Anybody can be redeemed is what I've realized more than anything. So Susan Yara has very much been redeemed. I don't even think she even really, I think it was like a speck on her radar. And Naturium, like I said, has been able to put out some really solid products since 2019. So, and they've really not slowed down. Like they always are in the conversation. They are always launching something new and innovative. They are coming out with products that have ingredients that people are not, you just don't hear about it often. And so they're definitely leading the pack when it comes to innovative skincare for sure. Now, this transaction is expected to close at the end of September, after which it is expected to contribute $48 million to e.l.f. sales in fiscal 2024 and double its revenues in skincare from 9% currently to 18% combined, I should say. Both e.l.f. signature skincare range and Naturium sit in accessible mass beauty market, but Naturium takes it up a notch with the average retail price of $18 versus e.l.f.'s at $9. But they share similar commitments to clean, cruelty-free, and clinically effective skincare, which again, very much seems like this is the way of the future. You're going to see huge brands, huge conglomerates acquire brands that are just, it's not necessarily about a money thing. It's more, we have similar commitments. We have similar values. We obviously see your brand is doing incredibly successful. And e.l.f. and Naturium, although different in pricing, their mission and their values and even down to the ingredients that they use as well too are very similar. And the simple fact that there is a standard for products that just, again, are actually doing what they're supposed to do. It's not a fluff piece. It's not something that, people are just using and saying, oh, it worked one or two times and so on. I mean, for e.l.f.'s products work amazingly. Like for the price point that they're at, I am shocked that and I'm not really shocked because a bunch of people are going to buy their products, no matter what, but I'm always shocked that e.l.f. always knows how to get it done and their products actually work. Like they're solid quality products and they definitely don't skimp on the quality whatsoever. And then the price point is always, you got to double take because you're like, how is this $9? But again, we're in a time now where, of course, people want affordable options, but people also want to know that their products are actually working, which is why they will shell out the $18 from Naturium, versus an e.l.f. But it doesn't really matter. There's just so many options nowadays, and $18 is still in that drugstore range as well, too, because drugstore is definitely getting a lot more expensive. But, that's a whole other different conversation. Now, a statement from e.l.f. Beauty's chairman and CEO stated, "We are thrilled to welcome Naturium to the e.l.f. Beauty family. Naturium aligns with e.l.f. Beauty's vision to create a different kind of beauty company with brands built to disrupt norms, shape culture, and connect communities through positivity, inclusivity, and accessibility. Nearly 2 decades in business, we continue to deliver exceptional results. In August, we raised our fiscal 2024 outlook after posting quarterly net sales growth of 76%, marking 18 consecutive quarters of more than 20% sales growth on average. e.l.f. Skin is one of the fastest growing skincare brands. For sure. e.l.f. has really been tearing it up. And Naturium joining e.l.f. Beauty presents a unique opportunity to significantly accelerate the potential we see in skincare." According to Yahoo News, there was also a quote here that said Naturium would continue to operate independently in LA. And then they also stated, sometimes you do acquisitions based on synergies, and this is very much a growth acquisition. So we plan to keep the entire Naturium team, which I love hearing because you can tell this is not necessarily a money play. Of course, $355 million is a lot of coin, but it very much feels like it's based on synergy. Like it is very much based on the simple fact that Naturium is killing it. e.l.f. is also killing it. And we want to make sure that we still have the Naturium team on, essentially with us as well too, because obviously what they've been doing is working. So instead of just coming in and taking over and possibly ruining it, which a lot of conglomerates and a lot of companies do, we're saying, hey, let's keep everybody in lieu. Let's make sure that Naturium still gets to do what they do because they're really great at it. We just want to be a part of it. Also, something really important to speak to is that e.l.f. is the largest cosmetics and skincare brand at Target by a wide margin. And then something else that one of the representatives stated from e.l.f. was that we can leverage our relationship and our strength of Target to get Naturium even greater presence within Target, which is going to be great because, like I said, they would kill in a again, they're already killing it on the level that they are, but the simple fact that they are already in Target, which is very drugstore friendly, now them getting an opportunity to have a greater presence is just going to put them in a different type of stratosphere. And of course, there are international expansion plans on the way for Naturium, as they're sold now in the UK at Space NK. And something also really important to notice is that e.l.f. Beauty actually acquired Well People and Keys Soul Care, which is Alicia Keys' skincare brand, in 2020. But they also have more plans in the future to acquire a lot more brands, especially if it feels very similar to the acquisition they're doing with Naturium and they feel like it fits and they're killing it. And there's obviously more opportunity for growth. So for anybody listening as well, too, if you have a brand that is doing really well and you are in retail and things are flying off the shelves and you really have your pulse on innovative skincare and what that's doing in today's industry, I mean, hey, I'm just putting it out there for y'all. Like, I want everybody to succeed. I want everybody to get some bread. And I'll be honest, when you create a brand, your immediate reaction isn't always, oh, like, I'm going to build this brand to sell it, right? And I'm sure this wasn't, I actually don't know if this was Susan Yara's plan all along. But what I do think what I do think is really commendable is when you create something and you create something so amazing that another huge company who's also doing amazing things saying, we want you a part of what we're doing. And it feels like such a weight lift off of you, especially when you're trying to build a brand and you need capital and you need all these other things to ensure that it actually goes in the direction that you want it to. The simple fact that this company is now acquiring them into this, community and essentially this, huge opportunity for them to be able to even reach more shelves, more opportunity, more growth, maybe even invest in better product development as well too with everything that they're doing. It just seems like this partnership just makes sense. And Susan Yara, like I said, the founder of Naturium, stated, "We built an incredible brand with numerous superstar formulas. As I mentioned, they knock it out the park every time. A dedicated community and a world-class team in less than 4 years. I've admired e.l.f. and their deep commitment to being a different kind of beauty company for years now. They care about their community and their employees, which is truly meaningful to me, especially as a female founder. With our complementary missions and cultures, I know e.l.f. Beauty will be the ideal partner as we expand our reach and continue to make high performance skincare accessible for all." And like I said, that's just exactly what this feels like. Like, I'll be really interested to see how Naturium elevates even further. And I was actually in their comment section as well too, where somebody actually mentioned it and said, "Hey, we saw that you were bought from e.l.f. Like, what does this mean?" Because every time you see a huge conglomerate or a company acquire, let's just say a smaller or an indie brand, it always usually means something's about to go south. It always usually means, so I shouldn't say that, but there's always usually something. There's always usually something. We all know these bigger companies have plans for these brands, right? And whether or not they're good or they're bad, it could, the people that really end up suffering are the actual consumers who love these products. So somebody in their, I'm sure their social media team said, "Hey, we're still operating as we are. We're excited to be a part of the e.l.f. Beauty family, but expect our formulas and our products to stay the same." So I'm holding Naturium to do that because, again, typically when a bigger brand acquires, a bigger company or organization or conglomerate acquires an indie beauty brand, some shit usually happens. And like I said, it never seems to ever fully recover. I mean, sometimes it does. It's kind of like when Estee Lauder acquired Deciem back in, that was a while ago, but that was maybe like 4 or 5 years ago. But it's through percentage wise. Eventually they'll own 100% of it. But a lot of people were side-eyeing that acquisition because it just felt like Estee Lauder is a company that tests on animals. Deciem says they don't test on animals. What does this mean for Deciem products? And a lot of people were shaking in their boots. A lot of people were commenting. A lot of people were saying we're not going to support anymore because of Estee. With e.l.f., everybody loves e.l.f. Like, everybody loves e.l.f. They love the affordability. They love the innovation. They love the collaborations that e.l.f. has been able to do. When, of course, they even did the Super Bowl commercial with Jennifer Coolidge. Like, e.l.f. is very much on the nose with what's happening, and they very much have a pulse on what's happening in the industry. To me, this seems perfect to add to their portfolio. And like I said, I'm excited to see what e.l.f. decides to acquire in the future as well too. I'm excited to see how Naturium decides to upgrade even further with this acquisition. And not to mention, it's really a testament to building a brand, focused on just making great products, right? Obviously, marketing and packaging and all that stuff really matters. But when you build a brand and you have great products at the helm of that, that's really important. Like, I'm a marketing girly, so I'm obviously going to say that everything is usually marketing, and it usually is. But I always believe outside of the marketing, you've got to have great product. You've always got to have great product, because whether or not the product is good or bad, like, can really obviously make or break the marketing. But you can market bad products and you can market good products. I mean, I've seen people market good products, but like I said, you could have the elixir to solve hair loss and nobody would know if the marketing sucks. Now, if you've got a great product and you've got great marketing, you're going to sail through. You're really going to do really well. But if you're not able to have a solid product at the end of the day, that's usually where things, they're not really going to focus. People aren't really going to focus on your brand, and they're not really going to pay attention to what it is that you're doing. You've got to literally have both amongst a bunch of other things in the pipeline. So shout out to e.l.f. Shout out to Naturium. I love to see it. I hope there's more beauty acquisitions, down the line for e.l.f. Beauty. And I'll be really interested to see who else they want to add to their portfolio and to their roster down the line. But I mean, truthfully, I think this is a step in the right direction. And it also means that every beauty acquisition that comes up doesn't have to be a negative one. This to me seems like quite positive news. I mean, I've been seeing the rumblings, I've been seeing the comment section, and nobody's been really, piping up, and there's not been a lot of, I don't really know about this, because like I said, e.l.f. Beauty seems to really know what they're doing. And as I mentioned here before, their representatives and their team is saying, hey, this is about synergy, right? This is about acquiring brands that are out here doing really well on their own, and we want to be a part of that, right? And so when Naturium making 90 million by the end of this year, I mean, what more do you need? I have no doubt next year, they're probably even going to do double. They might even do more depending on how things go. So all in all, shout out to all parties involved. And I'm really, really excited to know that more beauty acquisitions are on the way as well, because I think the last biggest one we had was Hero Cosmetics being acquired as well too. And that was for a good chunk of change. I don't remember the exact number, but I do remember that it was a big, big number, and it got everybody and their mom talking about it. And that was the last time everybody was kind of like, oh, let's pay attention to what's going on, beauty acquisitions, what does this mean for everything? But all in all, I'm really, really excited for all parties involved, for the launches, for the acquisitions, for everybody just, putting their best foot forward in the beauty world. I mean, I personally love to see it, but without further ado, y'all, thank you so much for tuning into another episode of What's New in Beauty. I appreciate everybody for listening, for downloading, for rating. I really, really do. If you haven't rated this episode, or if you haven't left a comment on my little Spotify, post-it section, please do, and let me know how you enjoyed the episode. If you have any questions or comments or thoughts, I would love to continue the conversation with y'all, of course. But until further ado, I'll catch you in the next one.